What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Dripping Creativity Podcast. I am your host, Chris Corvan, and today we are joined by an incredibly talented writer and actor who has a knack for blending heartfelt storytelling with a touch of magic. Her debut novel, Under the Same Sky, has already made waves, capturing the beauty of self-discovery and healing. When she's not crafting worlds with her words, you might find her shooting archery, creating content online, or simply enjoying a glass of wine with her friends. Please welcome Kate Hill to the show. Kate, thank you so much for coming. How are you doing today?
Hi, thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. That was beautiful. Oh my God, you should just write that for me always. I never know how to introduce myself.
You know, it comes from the many years of marketing that is just like, I don't like. I hate doing it for others. We'll talk about that later.
So yeah, because I still, even after telling hundreds of people what my book is about and whatever, I'm still just kind of, maybe it's imposter syndrome, I don't know, but I'm kind of just like, well, it's this, but anyway, that was beautiful. So.
Well, thank you, but for sure, it's difficult to promote yourself. It always is. Like I have the same thing even with this podcast and all my channels and shit. It's like I don't know what to say because I don't want to extend too much expectations to other people, but at the same time I know I need to sell the thing and I need to get eyes on everything, so it's difficult to do it for yourself, which is getting a team behind you is very important. But all right, anyways, so you have been a writer for as long as you can remember. What's kind of going back to the start of that creative process, what kind of got you into really loving it?
I'm not sure. I feel like ever since I was a little girl, I've always just been super artsy, and I've done everything that you can think of. I've been a singer, a writer, an actor, a dancer. I paint, I draw, like I've always done everything. And when I was a little girl, I had those journals that have like the little lock on the side, whatever, and I would write stories about like animals or wolves or something, because I grew up in San Diego. The San Diego Zoo was there, so we would go, and I guess that's what was capturing my imagination at the time. But I don't know, it just felt like something I wanted to do, and I've just kept up with it ever since then. So I really loved it. Yeah.
Is that something that was encouraged within the family? Like, do you have other creatives around you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. My mom and my dad are both concert violinists and violists. They went to Juilliard. And then my brother plays jazz piano. So we're all a family of creative, crazy people.
It's helpful to help really flourish that type of thing. Like there's so many really creative people that are kind of stuck in families that don't understand that side of things. So to grow up in one, that's amazing. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. I was lucky to have a family that was like, go for it, whatever you want to do, just go for it.
Hell yeah. And in a fantastic place in the country to do it, for sure. I mean, down in that area between there, Hollywood and all that. Yeah, no, you got it at your fingertips. So that's you're
we're working there.
All right, so Under the Same Sky here. It's your first published novel. What inspired the particular story, and why did you feel this was the right way to introduce yourself as a published author?
So I had always wanted to write a book. I knew that technically I had already written like 8 books because I've kept a journal all my life, and they're all like super thick. So I knew that I could write a lot. So I wanted to prove to myself that I could write a book. But you also hear how authors say that they write what they know, or there's always a little bit of you in the characters you create. And at the time, I started writing this in March of 2022, and the previous October, I kind of went through a bit of a personal thing that was like very, very hard for me to get through, and I needed to put that into something, create something with it, so that I've always had this idea that I what I create, I want it to help other people too, if possible. And so I wrote it because of that, and I also wrote it for other reasons that maybe we'll get into, but like those were the main two. And it just kind of unfolded from there, and I still kind of look back at the process and I'm like, I don't know how I wrote that, but I did. So yeah, that was basically what started it.
Okay. So let's talk about Addytown here. It's a vibrant part of the story there. Would you kind of consider that a character in itself?
I would, yeah. It's interesting to see how the town transforms as Saren, the main character, transforms. Her arrival there, like she kind of gets there and she doesn't think much of herself, or she doesn't believe herself capable of truly doing anything great. And when she starts realizing her own path, she transforms this town also. And my editor, when he was looking at it, he was like, oh, Addytown is also like a pretty big character too. It's not just Saren, Dr. Harlan, you know, whatever. So that was something that kind of came as, it wasn't intentional on my part maybe, but yeah, by the end, a lot of things and people have transformed for sure.
So let's talk about the protagonist there. You got Saren Grinaker.
Grinaker, yeah.
Grinaker?
Yeah.
Okay. It's one of those things where it's like, it could be pronounced this way or this. I took a
but
shot.
It could be Grinaker too, though, because it's actually funny. Like, I don't know why, but for me, when I think of names, they just kind of come into my head. And like, when I was trying to figure out what her last name would be, Grinaker came into my head, and then I looked it up, and it means green acre. And so I was like, oh, that's perfect for a farmer. So, yeah.
So, goes through a lot of intense experiences, loss, heartache, struggle to rebuild. How much of yourself did you kind of see in Saren, and were there any parts of the journey there that you felt challenging or cathartic for you to write?
Oh, it was definitely cathartic. I mean, I can relate to her in a lot of ways. She's not me, but I can relate to her in a lot of ways. So like, my dad passed away when I was 13. In the book, she loses her grandfather, so it was nice to sort of put some of those feelings of grief into the book. We've all been through bad breakups, right? So, so it was interesting to also channel that as well. So, yeah, it was just a very cathartic experience to take things I've experienced and put them into a fictional story. And yeah, it was really interesting.
Definitely. I know for me personally, when I'm writing, it helps me to identify the exact emotions and feelings that I have felt during those times. Like, even because I generally stick mostly with horror, but I can encapsulate the emotions I'm trying to express that I'm currently feeling in whatever state I'm in, and it kind of helps me overcome that. It's kind of like that third person view of yourself through a character.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite horror novel that you've read recently?
Jeez. Novel-wise, not too much. I don't spend a lot of time reading horror right now, just because I'm doing a lot of reading of other genres for other people as I'm doing these interviews. I have a specific show that's dedicated to just a project, so for like your book and all of that. So I end up reading a lot of books, a lot of romance lately. Actually, it's kind of weird.
That's good. I just found out this year that there are a lot of men who enjoy romance. I was like, great, that's awesome.
I never did until Threads and meeting my bestie Sarah Burton there, because she's a romance writer, and she sent me one of her novels there, and I fell in love with her writing style, and her like that book had me bawling by the end of it, and it was like, yeah, all right, well, I'm hooked in that shit now. But then my mind's all like, romance and horror, we're gonna put that together. So
yeah, no, it'd be a cool combo for sure. I just read Carmilla, which is like a classic vampire story from the 1800s. It was good, but I like horror too. Anyway, sorry for the tangent.
No, hey, literally that's what the show is all about, is tangents. Yeah. If we make it through all my questions, I'll be shocked just because of tangents. Kind of going back off of that concept of healing through storytelling there, your novel does touch on a lot of themes such as grief, self-discovery, finding oneself. What role do you think storytelling plays in helping people, including yourself?
Sorry, I'm distracted by my neighbor has here. I'll do that. Okay. Could you ask that again?
Not a problem. Your
Okay.
novel touches on a lot of themes like grief, self-discovery, and finding oneself. What role do you think storytelling and books and all of that kind of help in helping people, including yourself, process through the heavier themes?
Oh, I think it's such an amazing tool to have. I mean, there's a quote that I think my favorite author, Carlos Ruiz-Zafón, said, I'm probably going to butcher it, but something like, books are mirrors. You see in them what you already have in yourself. And stories are just such a profound way that we can understand ourselves. I think I read recently, psychologically, it's how we learn things. Like, this happened to this person, this is the lesson they learned. And I think it's just a beautiful way to explore yourself and what you're interested in. And if you say, I don't know, read a book like mine where Saren is dealing with grief, and then I don't want to, no spoilers, but like how she processes that, then it kind of can tell you a way of how to process that grief, or maybe to make steps to move towards it. And I just love stories so much for those reasons, because it's just so uniquely human. It's the way that we learn so often.
Could not agree more. Let's kind of dive into the role of dreams here, because Saren has prophetic dreams that guide her choices. Are dreams something that kind of play a role in your own life and create a process? Have you ever, had a dream that led to a story idea?
Oh man, my dreams are like, I don't know if you have the same experience, but my dreams are always bizarre. They're never like just, I don't know, I go to the grocery store and I meet somebody or whatever. They're always bizarre. But I have a few times had a couple dreams that have played out like an episode of television or an idea for a story. I've had that happen twice. I have an idea for this pilot I want to write that played out as an episode of TV, like I said, and then I had another dream that made me write this short film that I did like 2 years ago. So I think dreams are an amazing way to come up with ideas. I mean, didn't Stephanie Meyer say that Twilight was inspired by a dream that she had or something? Like,
Definitely been a couple out there for sure.
Yeah, I love that. I love that it's just, we don't know where they come from either, I don't think. We don't really know where dreams come from, but it's an interesting way to work creatively, for sure.
Definitely. And I know, like, what I find weird is I talk to some people and they're just like, yeah, my dreams are like normal. Because like I'll tell them about my dreams and I have crazy, insane dreams. And they're like, are you okay? Like, yeah, no, I'm fine. This is just, daily life for me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's always the question, isn't it? Are you okay?
I get that way too much.
I'm fine. I don't know where it comes from.
I get that way too many times a day for way too many different reasons. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
So navigating romance and reality there, the journey includes navigating new relationships while dealing with the past. What do you think are the most important elements to writing authentic romantic tension, especially when a character is still healing?
That's a difficult question, because that's something that I endeavored to write in my book, because I would say my book is slow burn. It, really tries to build on that tension between these two characters. And I think maybe where some of the tension came from, at least in my writing, was these are two people who want to be together, but they're just not together. They're not coming together for various reasons, of course, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't have a story. But it's dual POV, so you have some chapters that are from Dr. Harlan's point of view. Most of it's from Saren's, but there's this thing of like, will they, won't they? His whole reason behind not pursuing her is because he knows what she's been through before she came there, and he doesn't want to overstep boundaries. He's also the town physician, so it's like he doesn't want to overstep the boundaries with that. And then for her, it's like she wants to be okay on her own first before she jumps into something else. And I've read a decent amount of romance, and I hadn't read up until my book the idea of the main character wanting to be okay on her own first before jumping into another relationship, because obviously a romance is about relationship, but I wanted it to be about the relationship she was having with herself. But I think a lot of the tension just comes from like this coming together, but not quite getting there. And so it's like you twist that tension every single time you have a scene where they're together and you know that they like each other, but they're not, it's not this yet. So that was an interesting thing to try to craft in this story.
Now, speaking of crafting there, is this something that you were flying by the seat of your pants while writing, or did you actually outline the entire thing first? Tell me about your process.
So I did not do any outlining. I kind of, I don't know if you've heard of the gardening technique of writing, but it's just this thing where you just start writing and see what happens. Stephen King wrote a book on writing called On Writing, and he is somebody who does the gardening technique. He doesn't do any outlining. So my process is basically like, so super pretentious, but I own a typewriter. So like I'll sit down at the typewriter and I'll just type out scenes that come to my head or phrases or anything like that. And that keeps me going, and I'll think about it for a bit. And then all of a sudden a scene will come to me, and I just started writing chapter 1. Chapter 1 really didn't change at all from when I sat down to the final form. And it was just very strange because I kind of just felt the book every time I sat down. It was just like, and we're going here next. What happens in this scene? Oh, interesting. That's what that character wants to do. Okay. So there was no outline. I don't even know if I could outline a book, which is something I should probably practice because I want to try to write a fantasy novel at some point. There's no way you can write a fantasy novel without an outline, I feel like. So
you can.
Yeah, but it'd be like, none of this makes sense. So yeah, that was kind of the way that this book played out. And I kind of look back on it and I'm like, I'm not sure how that happened, but it worked. So fantastic.
How many kind of revisions, and were there times that while you were writing the book you kind of went, oh shit, this is amazing, but that means I have to go back and change this?
Oh God. So interestingly enough, I didn't have much of any like reordering chapters or being like, I don't like this, let me take this out. You know, a lot of it was just, I did the first draft and then I refined it. So I have read this 13 times because I really wanted to pour over it to make sure it didn't have any typos, that it was flowing correctly. I did have an editor. So but it was kind of complicated towards the end because I wanted to go back in and change some things. So I wrote it, I read it 8 times. I sent it off to him. He edited it. And then I had to approve the changes and then go back and read it 5 more times. So that was a huge undertaking. And I'm so glad to be done with that part of it. Because I don't know if you've ever read a book 13 times, but it's a lot.
Actually, that's one of the things Saren Burton, who we were talking about before here, her books, I was helping a lot with kind of like the developmental side and flow and all of that, and I think I read her books about 13 different times. Yeah. So no, I get how difficult that side of it is and frustrating, but you know what?
It's a labor of love.
Well, exactly. And I mean, the last thing you really want to do is release something with errors that has not been read that many times, or just pushed out for the sake of getting it out, because you don't want to have to go back and constantly do updates to the files and all of that shit.
For sure. Because there's the stigma against self-publishing too, that it's like it's not as professional. So that was a huge driving force for me, other than just wanting it to be the best that it can be. I was like, people are going to think this is professional. Like, I'm going to put in all the work.
And really, that's how it should be. So, doing that, taking that time, really putting your heart and soul into it. That's what we want to hear. You don't want to be one of those people that just pushes shit out just to make money. So
for sure.
I very much appreciate that. All right. So before we kind of move away from the book here, let's kind of give a sales pitch. Let's kind of workshop your sales pitch here. So, in one sentence, describe your book for me. What are readers going to expect?
Oh my God. Probably need your help with this, given that amazing intro you had.
Hey, we're here. We're going to workshop this right now.
Okay. Her resilience, I would say it's getting back up when you don't think you can. I would say it's like not thinking that you can achieve everything you've ever wanted, but you can. Oh my gosh, I don't know. Woman who's down on her luck moves to a small town and transforms herself and finds everything she has ever wanted. I don't know.
A woman rediscovers herself through community, hope, and overcoming all obstacles, including herself.
That's a good one.
There we go. Love it. All right. What kind of genre are you aiming to hit here?
I mean, I would say it's contemporary romance. There are some dramatic elements in there, so it's not all just like light-hearted. So I guess you could, is drama a category for books? I'm sure that it is.
There's like a million categories.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever heard somebody just be like, this is a drama book. Like, I don't know. Anyway, but contemporary romance with some more serious themes thrown in there.
Adult contemporary romance.
Yes, for sure.
Perfect.
Definitely adult. Yes. I had somebody on YouTube ask me the other day if it was clean, and I didn't realize that there were still people who wanted clean romance, because I feel like all romance is,
spicy.
Yeah, spicy, but they were like, "Are there curse words in it too?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, there's curse words in it," and so that was interesting.
Are there? That's just common conversational topics. Like, I drop shits and fucks all the time. Anyways.
Yeah.
So then, how spicy does the book get?
So, on the level, I would say it's like average to every other run-of-the-mill romance novel. It's not like every other page there's spice. Like, it's a slow burn for a reason.
Slow burn, 3 out of 5 spice.
Yes, I would say that. Yes.
Love it. Okay, and then we'll get to where to find it, all that at the end. So let's kind of transition now into getting to know you a little bit more,
Cool.
short of what I said there at the start.
Really?
So you have a very strong presence on platforms like TikTok and YouTube. How do you kind of balance being a writer and a content creator? How do you find that engagement with your audience? Do you find it kind of influencing how you're approaching your storytelling?
I haven't even thought of that, honestly, because I'm kind of all over the place. I do a bunch of different things. I feel like I can compartmentalize very well. TikTok, that was kind of a thing that happened separately from being creative. That was just me getting on camera to rant about things in the beginning, and that kind of morphed into it being like a commentary TikTok. So that was totally separate from writing. YouTube is something that I've just recently like gotten way back into. But with writing, I feel like that's a very insular thing. It's like when I do it, I have to focus all my attention on it, and the outside world is not there. So I would say that they're pretty separate.
Okay. Let's talk archery. When did
Yes.
you get into this? How long have you been doing? Tell me all about archery, seriously.
So, my dad randomly came home one day, and I forget what year it was, but I was 11 years old, and he was like, "Do you want to go get archery equipment?" And I was like, "Sure." I think I was like 11 at the time. So we were in New Hampshire, and we went up to Kittery. We bought a bunch of stuff. We had a huge basement, so we would shoot archery in the basement. And I just have kept up with it ever since then. It's not, I have a lot of people, especially men, they'll comment on my pictures and they'll be like, "So do you go hunting? Are you a hunter?" And I'm like, "No, this is just for the aesthetic. This is just for like, I want to be, Katniss or Legolas or whatever. This is just me having fun. I'm not going to kill anything with this, but it's really fun. I have a recurve bow, which is the classic, one that you usually see in most films. And there's a lot of free places in LA you can go if you have equipment and just shoot. And it's really, really fun. I've taught like 20 people how to shoot. Yeah.
No, that's absolutely awesome. I mean, I love archery. I always have. Never got into it. Always want to.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely going to be something I want to get into for sure. Is that?
Would you want to do like compound, recurve, longbow?
Honestly, I think I'd be down for trying all of it. The only problem is I got shit wrists.
Oh.
So yeah, like even doing push-ups and all of that ends up like it's like carpal tunnel style things. It sucks. It's horrible. I'll find a way around it. But I think
is that only when you like have to
bend? Yeah,
have your wrist like this?
Very much.
You don't really have to bend your wrist too much in archery, so
straight, it's okay.
I think you'd be okay then, because there's not a whole lot of this.
Then we're down. I've got some places around here. It's more finding the money because that shit ain't cheap.
Yeah.
So just because this is an interview show, I should ask: do you see a parallel between hitting a target in archery and finding the right words as a writer?
Interesting.
I got a whole bunch of those random questions like that where it's like, all right, sure, we'll go with it.
I feel like you've asked me questions today I haven't really even thought of before. I always love when people can surprise me like that, so thank you. I appreciate it, because I feel like I'm always thinking about everything all the time, so that's cool that I've like new things to think about. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, it's a really good metaphor for it.
Very much so. It's good. I don't know if there could be a parallel, but you know what? It sounded like a good question in my head. I was like, shit, yeah, we're gonna go with that. I like that.
I mean, I guess you could be like, maybe the right words, the bullseye or something, and it's
that feeling
it just comes into my head.
Oh, it's like that feeling of getting the perfect first line of a book. It's just
Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to think about that more, but you could probably draw that parallel.
Probably. People smarter than me probably could. I don't know. But are you one of those people that kind of hyper-focuses on your first line of your book? Or do you just kind of go with it and leave it?
I just kind of go with it. Like, I'm very happy because I don't think I'm somebody so far, knock on wood, who gets writer's block, or who's like obsessive over words to use or character names, because it comes into my head. And so the very first line of the book, again, it was just one of those things. It's like, oh, that's the first line of the book, and went from there. I'm very happy about that.
a go with the flow type of creator. I dig that. I like that. I hyper focus entirely too much. If you could bring any of the elements in any world you've created there, what element would you bring into reality?
I love the sense of community that's in Addytown with Saren and all of the people she meets. I love that everybody's super connected and supports each other. It's very much that, like cottagecore is very popular, that like, we're going to go live off the land. We're going to go take care of each other this way. I would love to bring that, because that's what I endeavored to write in the book. And I think a lot of people want that more. People want to slow down and enjoy being around a fire pit with a friend and just having like some food or whatever. And so I would definitely bring that forward. I could use more of that.
You could just move up here. I mean, I got the Rocky Mountains right here. I can show you a couple places. You can just live that cottagecore life right by the mountains. Awesome.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
So pretty out there. All right, before I get sidetracked with that shit again, because that happens way too much.
Are you not in California?
No, I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Oh wow. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
I don't know why I thought I saw California on your profile. I guess I misread it, but Canada's gorgeous.
It's CA is supposed to be the flag, and then some places it doesn't translate as the Canadian flag. So,
oh, got it.
yeah,
Got it.
it's
Got it.
yeah, it's a social media thing. They don't like Canadians. I don't know. All right. So you've talked about a good glass of wine with friends. How important is that social time with people as a creator? And does it serve as a recharge or a source of inspiration?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much stock I put into love languages. I feel like everybody knows what their love languages are, but absolutely far and above, my top one has always been quality time. So anytime that I can just be with a friend and talk to them about what's going on in their life, or I love being around creative people who come together to just make things. And so that's very important to me. Like later today, I might be going to do pumpkin carving with some friends and we'll have some drinks or whatever. So got to get into the October spirit.
there's few things to me are as addicting as getting a couple creators in a room together, just hashing out, what if. It's one of my favorite games to play with when I'm chatting with specific friends, where it's like, okay, well, what if this happens? Okay, well, if that happens, then it would go here, and you kind of build this entire universe together. And then like I've got a Discord channel that's private. It's basically just mine, but it's just all story ideas that I've come up with various people, and it's like tagged with their name on it and what the idea was. And it's a great place to kind of pull ideas and just go, hey, let's create this one.
It's so exciting, especially when those people are like, okay, now let's do it. Let's make the thing.
That's the thing is finding those people that are all like, all right, let's do it. And you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and not like, well, I don't have the time. I need no. Let's do it. Let's get it done.
100% get that on both sides. It's just like, I like creators that, even though they're afraid and have imposter syndrome, still just do it. It's very difficult to find. It's like 1 in 10 maybe, but
that's the only way things move forward and get done. Like if you're afraid, do it anyway. If you don't think it's good, do it anyway. Like you never know what could happen.
Exactly. I could not agree more. Okay, we are closing off on the main episode here soon, so I just have a couple rapid fire questions that we're going to get into. Okay. And it's going to be a lot of fun, but before that,
hopefully it's not another like sum it up in a sentence, because I'm clearly bad at that.
There's at least one more of those ones. Don't worry, I got you.
Okay.
But before we jump into that one, let's talk about what is next for you. What are your future plans?
I am going to be continuing to post whatever chaotic things come to my brain on my socials, because the whole reason that I'm on this podcast right now is because we connected on Threads. Threads is absolutely insane when it comes to meeting people.
I've been saying that everything you see here, everything I've done is because of Threads. So
so like that's like my main tool. It's like just put it out there and see what happens. And then I have like 3 other book ideas that I want to write. This could easily be a series where I have 10 books in the series, but I might take a break from it and write. I have an idea for a horror book. I have an idea for a fantasy book. Again, all over the place. Niche be damned. I could never be a niche person. More archery probably, and then I am also maybe doing a writing project for another author, so just trying to stay busy and create as much as possible.
Excellent. I love to hear that. And then before the rapid fire, the final actual question I'm going to ask you, what is your advice for anyone, writer, influencer, archer, that you would give them about succeeding in their path?
Just start and don't think about it. That's what I would say, because people, myself included, by the way, I have spent so much time overthinking shit, and that makes me not do it. Just do it. It's okay if you screw up. It's okay if people don't like it. Just do it. It's gonna get easier.
That is
like in anything you want to do.
The number one quote that I have said over and over again: don't think, just do. That's it.
Yeah,
it. All right.
it's really that simple.
Now, yep, perfect. Take a drink. I was just going to tell you to take a drink because we're getting into the rapid fire. This is the good shit here. All right. If you could turn one of your characters into a TikTok influencer, who would it be and why?
Jenna, because Jenna is an artist and she's got this fiery red hair and she's boisterous and fun, and I think she would have a very interesting cottagecore kind of TikTok account.
Dig it. Favorite comfort food?
Ooh, mashed potatoes or mac and cheese, probably.
Oh, wow, those are solid choices. I dig that.
And I'm just saying things that, like, first thing that comes to mind.
As rapid fire. I totally dig it. Would you rather have dinner with a historical / celebrity figure or a fictional character of your choice?
Oh, probably fictional.
Who?
Dracula.
Solid choice. I dig it.
I would love it if Dracula were real. Holy shit. That would be awesome.
Down with it. Favorite go-to karaoke song?
Probably something by Queen. Somebody to Love, maybe. Or Bohemian. That's not too common or cliche. I don't know.
No, but it's a very long one.
That's true. So probably Somebody to Love. Yeah.
Solid choice. Describe your writing style in 3 words.
Oh, introspective, lyrical, and colorful.
You know what? I absolutely dig that. If you could master any skill that you do not currently have, what would it be?
Ooh, probably being more brash. Like, just, I don't know, putting myself out there even more and just being like, go for it, all cylinders ahead.
I totally get that one. I would do that one too. Wine and a good book or coffee and a hike?
Wine and a good book, obviously.
Excellent.
Always.
And
If you're doing anything physical, like hike and alcohol, anything like, let's go
coffee
like,
and a hike. Coffee and a hike.
Coffee. Sorry. I guess that just shows what my brain is focused on. Coffee and a hike. I don't drink coffee. So, yeah, wine and a book.
You were so close to being my best friend, and then you dropped that.
I know. I'm so sorry. I just don't.
I need a minute.
I drink Diet Coke. That's the caffeine that I get.
I need a minute. That one hurt.
And matcha. I drink matcha.
God.
I live in LA. I drink matcha lattes.
God damn LA people, I'm telling you. It hurts. It hurts. All right. Okay. And then the most important question I'm going to ask you over this entire thing. Where can people find you and your book?
So I am It's Kate Hill on all platforms, TikTok, Threads, Instagram, and YouTube. On those profiles, I have a link tree. The first 2 links are where you can purchase it on Amazon. It's available on Kindle and Kindle Unlimited. And yeah, it's just Under the Same Sky by Kate Hill on Amazon. I will be publishing it through other sources too, but we are not there yet. So almost there.
Absolutely perfect, Kate. Thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure. We are going to jump into Off the Record here. So for everyone that is not a Creative Coffee Cafe member or a Patreon member, we're going to end it right here for you guys. So thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to check out Kate's novel. Everything, including the links and where to follow, are going to be in the descriptions down below. And if you're looking for a community of like-minded creators, don't forget to join us at the Creative Coffee Cafe. It is a space where you can connect, collaborate, and share your passion with others. Plus, our Patreon has a lot of exclusive content, including the Off the Record segments and a whole bunch of other really cool shit that is coming up soon. I'm very excited for. All right, so that is going to wrap up the main episode. Stick around for Off the Record. My name is Chris Corvan. You can find me everywhere at Chris of the Void. This has been Dripping Creativity Podcast. And, stay creative and stay inspired. See ya.